Hey guys, what's going on? Megan here. Alright, I'm answering a bunch of emails, and this is one question I keep getting. And this is from, it's actually from a lot of people, but this guy, I can't pronounce his name, Hari Tenku. Anyway, it's people asking me about body composition, pretty much how to build muscle, how to lose fat, blah, 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 but mainly how to build muscle in terms of keeping it simple, because obviously you go on the internet, there are a million articles, a million videos, all telling you how to build muscle, right? And it's easy to get confused. I'm not gonna lie. When wanted to get big, when I was little, I wanted to get big. It was a long journey. Like I said, from 142 pounds to over 220 pounds, it was a long ass journey. But guess what? The the trend line of my growth accelerated. I mean, it went exponential when I discovered this three simple things, right? Three simple things. And when I say parabolic, it really went, like, it really accelerated. If you go back and you look at my videos, you notice I was really, really, really skinny, and I was trying to put on weight, and it was, every time I tried to bulk, I would just get too fat, and it was just a mess, right? I was stuck around 160 for the longest, and everyone kept telling me that was my genetic potential because I was 142 pounds, and they were like, "You 160, that's 20 pounds you put on. That's it. You can't get any bigger than that naturally." And then, you guys know I don't fucking give up. Next thing you know, I'm 170, 180, 190, 200, 220. Obviously, I put on fat too, but obviously that's understandable. If somebody puts on that much muscle under a year, and I did all that under a year after my noob gains. Mind you, after your noob gains, it's very hard to put on muscle. So the fact that I was able to put on that much size, um, that quickly after my noob gains, tells you that I was on to something. I'm not trying to brag, it's just a fact. You go look at the progress and you're like, oh, this guy's stuck at the same weight for a long time, and then out of nowhere, just right? And then eventually I fucking fell off and I stopped, life got in the way, pretty much ended up putting on fat. But the muscle building progress and process took place when I understood these three simple things, right? And I feel like if I give you those three things, I keep responding to emails and I keep mentioning this every single time. I'm like, to keep it simple, follow this, follow this, follow that, follow that. But the messages keep on coming, keep on coming. So from now on, because I can't answer every single email, and I can't right now, I'm reading through all the messages, I'm behind. I mean, I haven't made videos in a year, so there's a lot of messages I'm trying to get to. I feel like this is the video I'm going to refer everybody to, right? Everybody that's trying to put on muscle, that's looking for the simple, the nutshell, right? This is the video I'm going to refer you to. And this is based on everything. Science, bro science, anecdotes. I mean, just facts that were tested in fucking laboratories, and then things that were also tested in the gym by people who train. It's just everything compiled, right? And you guys know that's my philosophy. I like combining those two things. You don't want to just be on any one of the extremes. These are the top three things you need to understand in order to build muscle. So you won't have to rely on anybody to say, sell you scam supplements or, expensive ass shit. Number one, right? Memorize this. Amino acids, right, which is protein, right? Growth factors. Growth factors like, mTOR, the enzymes, testosterone, IGF-1, whatever. And ATP, energy. Remember those three things, right? Those are the only three things you need to know in order to put on muscle. The only three things. That's what everything boils down to. Every single, I don't care how many articles you read on Testosterone Nation, I don't care how much time you went to PubMed or whatever. It all boils down building muscle. And I've studied muscle building for so fucking long. And eventually came back to square one and was like, all right, I didn't even need to go that far, right? Because I realized those are the only three things that matter. What do I mean, right? First of all, what is building muscle? I feel like if you understand how to build, if you understand how muscle building takes place, a lot of your future questions will be answered already. What is muscle building? It's your body literally synthesizing, creating new tissue, right? Or enlarging the size of the muscle tissue you already have. So it's the equivalent to building a house. That is the easiest way, the easiest analogy. Building a fucking house, right? You have bricks, you have workers, right? People that are working and putting the buildings together, along with the architect was like, all right, do this, do that, do that. And then you have money. You're not building a house without fucking money, right? You're not gonna just go somewhere, have the bricks, have the workers or whatever, and just say build, and it's just gonna happen. You need money, right? So that's the three things. Now, what does that have to do with the body, right? So the workers, that's the growth factors. That's the mTOR enzyme, That's the, myogenin, IGF-1, growth hormone, myostatin, testosterone, all the things that have to do with fucking growth, right? Those are the growth factors. Those are the workers, right? That's like the architect and the workers. We're gonna come there and build your fucking castle, build your gains. That's part one, right? The bricks is obviously the amino acids, right? Simple. The amino acids, the protein. The reason why you eat protein is because that's the bricks that you're gonna use to build your fucking castle, right? And the third thing, the money, is the ATP, right? The energy. You need the energy. You can't have the workers. You can't. That's slavery, motherfucker. You can't have people work without paying them, right? In the same way, your body is not gonna do all this fucking work without some kind of currency, right? And that comes from the energy, the ATP. Now, when you put that all together, right? When you apply that into bodybuilding, right? Once again, try to keep it simple. How does that work? Any program you on, I don't care if you're on 5x5, 3x10. German volume training, nucleus overload, whatever routine you on, whatever diet you on, as long as those three things are in balance, as long as you have sufficient amount of those three things, you're gonna put on muscle, right? Progressive overload, all these things that we talk about, it all boils down to those three things. So, the growth factors, right? Because you need all three. It's not, one is more important than the other. Yeah, we could go into that, but right now just pretend like all three are equal, right? They're not. Some things are actually way more important. But let's look at the growth factors, right? You go to the gym. You lift weights, assuming you're natty, right? You lift weights, heavy squats, heavy bench, dips, whatever you fucking call it. Compound movements, things that break down the body, things that spike cortisol temporarily, because it's the stress response that really makes your body grow. That's why the longer you've been training, after a while, your body's like, okay, fuck it, I'm not growing anymore, because you're not getting that big cortisol spike. Your body's not stressed. Your body grows to adapt. Remember, it doesn't grow because you want to look sexy for the summer or because you just want to have big arms. Your body grows because it feels like it's survival. It's threatened. That's why you got to have intense, high volume, hard workouts to get that shot, right? So that's where the growth factors come in, from lifting hard, right? Obviously training hard, sleeping, all that stuff. So boom, check. We got the growth factors, right? Obviously, if you have some genetic advantages where your myostatin is low, that's another growth factor, even though it kind of does the reverse, but it's also a growth factor. So that's checked. Just by going to the gym, and almost everyone is doing this. I assume everyone is doing this, right? Everyone is going to the gym. Everyone is increasing the weight over time, doing obviously with reps. Everyone is doing the compound movements. All those things. Not only it temporarily spikes your growth hormones and your growth factors, but it also creates more androgen receptors. But I'm not gonna go into the details because this video is supposed to be simple as fuck. So if you go to the gym, you have the growth factors part. Now if you don't go to the gym and you're on steroids, you also have the fucking growth factors, right? That's why people on steroids just grow. Look at the studies of the people who don't train and just take steroids and still put on muscle. In fact, there's a study I made a video about where they had a group of people train, natty, a group of people that trained and took steroids, and then a group of people who just took steroids. The group of people who just took steroids put on more muscle in the same amount of time than the fucking natty motherfuckers. So just think about that. The people who are training natty didn't put on as much muscle as the ones who just sat on the asses and took huge amounts of steroids. To show you the importance of the growth factors. And obviously the ones who took the steroids and trained put on the most muscle, right? I'm going to try to find a video, put it in the description, but I made a video about it. You can find that study. It's a very popular study. Shows you the power of testosterone, the power of, of steroids and growth factors. Same thing with the people who have myostatin deficiencies. They just grow without even going to the fucking gym. So if you're natty, going to the gym, you're going to get those growth factors, right? That's 1 out of 3. 2 more things missing, right? Next, the amino acids. Almost everyone gets enough protein. Stop thinking, if you bulk and you're trying to put on muscle, I guarantee you getting enough protein. All right, I made a lot of videos about that. I studied nitrogen retention for a very fucking long time, and I realized, oh my fucking goodness, like your body is getting enough protein. If you're eating a normal diet, you're getting enough protein. So amino acids is not the issue. People are getting enough amino acids, right? And I talk about this in almost every video now. It was like the most simple discovery that blew my mind. If you're putting on a pound of muscle every single month, which is amazing if you could do that. Most of us are not fucking doing it. A pound of muscle is 454 grams of muscle. Divide that by 30, we're just assuming, hypothetically, let's say your body's putting on muscle gradually throughout those 30 days, right? 454 grams of muscle, that's a pound of muscle a month, right? Divide that by 30. What do you get? You get about 15 grams. So if you're putting on a pound of muscle a month, you theoretically putting on 15 grams of muscle every day. 15 grams of muscle. Muscle is about 20% protein. What is that? 3 grams of fucking protein. 3 grams. You know what 3 grams of protein is? I'm looking for something that, what weighs 3 grams around here? it's really fucking small, right? It's really fucking small. So if your body is using, mind you, this is 3 additional grams, right? So if your body is already using the protein that it needs for your body to renew your cells and all that, all it needs is to synthesize and keep an additional 3 grams of muscle every single day to add up to a pound of muscle at the end of the month. So everyone is getting enough protein. I'm pretty sure. Don't worry about that. So you have the gym part, everyone's doing it, check. The protein part, everyone is doing it, check, right? Everyone's getting enough protein. Most people are. The only thing that's missing is the ATP, and that is the biggest problem with anyone trying to put on size is motherfuckers are not eating enough. You're not getting enough ATP. You're not getting enough energy because the bricks are there. Boom, that's the protein, amino acids. The workers are there. The growth factors are there, right? What's missing? The money. You're not paying the fucking. That reminds me of fucking Chris Tucker. But yeah, the money's missing, right? The energy's missing. That's what a lot of guys don't understand. They're like, oh, I'm trying to get big. I'm lifting heavy. I'm eating a lot of protein. Why am I not big? You're not getting enough energy. You simply not getting enough ATP. So that is 9 out of 10. Every time I'm working with somebody, right? Because obviously I don't have the time to keep doing it. But every time I'm working with somebody online or, like, hey, people trying to get big, sending me pictures and all that. And I look at the diet, it's always the same thing. They're training hard. They're eating enough protein, but they're not getting enough ATP. They're not paying the motherfucking workers. You don't pay your workers, they go on strike. You gotta understand how much energy your body needs to put on muscle. It's a very expensive process. Number one, you gotta understand muscle is costly, right? The more muscle your body has, the more fat you're burning, the more energy, the faster your metabolism is. It's not as such a huge ass difference, but it costs energy. So it costs energy to build muscle, and it costs energy to maintain muscle, and it costs energy to fucking train at the gym to get those muscles in the first place. Your body is constantly in need of ATP. So you're trying to put on size, and that's why you got to make up your mind. People trying to get big and lean at the same time, that shit is hard as hell. Unless you're a beginner or you have really good genetics. Decide, you're either going to bulk, you're going to cut, you're going to do a clean bulk. It doesn't matter, but you got to eat enough fucking food. I'm beating a dead horse. Everyone knows this, but for some reason, it seems to elude everybody. Everyone is looking for a 4th and 5th factor. It's just those 3 things. Your growth factors, your amino acids, and then the energy. Just embed that into your fucking head. The next time you see a video, I don't care if it's from me or from anybody else or an article, and they try to make it complicated and fancy and complex, boil it down to those 3 things, right? As of right now, as you're watching this video, you could literally tell if your body's putting on muscle or not. How? Simply ask yourself, is there enough growth factors in your blood? Right? Get some blood work. Your testosterone levels, up to par. Just look at the difference between men and women. They could train just as hard. Women could train just as hard, could eat a lot of calories, can do all this stuff, progressive overload, all this shit that we talk about. But why is it that it's so much harder for them to put on size? Because we have a huge variance in our growth factors. Precisely testosterone, but a bunch of other stuff as well. So ask yourself right now, do you have enough, are your growth factors good? Right? Most of the times they are. If you're sleeping well, eating well, whatever, going to the gym, yeah. And then ask yourself, did you get enough protein? Yes. Most of the time, unless you're starving, you're getting enough protein. The third thing, which is usually where everybody fucks up at, ask yourself, am I getting enough energy? Right? Enough energy to train? Am I getting enough energy to build muscle, maintain muscle? That's why when people bulk, I keep telling you, increase your carbs. Increase your carbs, because carbs are protein sparing, right? They reduce protein breakdown, right? They don't increase protein synthesis directly. They just do it indirectly because they reduce protein breakdown. Because your body's like, hey, I have enough energy. What happens when you don't have enough energy? Your body, everybody knows this, your body starts breaking down the muscle that you already have and converts that into energy. So it's counterproductive. It's like the workers. Back to the work example. You're not fucking paying them. And you tell them, oh, build this. What happens? They take the fucking breaks and they start selling them shits to feed themselves. You know what I mean? It's the exact same scenario, right? If you don't pay the workers, they will take the bricks that you give them to build them, the castle with, and they will sell that. They will liquidate that shit and make money. So your body will take the protein that you're giving it, break it apart, turn it into energy, which goes against the whole, which goes against your goal. So I hope this simplifies everything, right? The next time you're confused, if you know this, you don't need somebody to give you a program. I mean, once again, unless you really competing or something like that, or you really have a long way to go, then yeah, I recommend that. But for the average person, just understand those 3 things. That's all you need. It's all you need. Understand those 3 things, and any program you create, I don't care if it's full body workouts, splits, whatever, try to make sure the ratio is good, right? That's why I grew so fast on full body workouts, even though I was doing splits for 2 or 3 years. Why? Because I got a huge spike in my growth factors when I was doing full body workout. Huge spike. Because you're doing all these compound movements all on the same day. It's one thing to go to the gym and do bench press and flies and come home. It's another thing to go and do squats, barbell rows, bench press, shoulder press all on the same day. You get a completely different cortisol and growth factor spike. So anyway, hope this clears things out. If you've got any more questions, comment below, message me. But from now on, I'm going to refer everybody to this video. That simplifies muscle building in a nutshell.